Hi, Den Dogs. This is Rick Collins. Unfortunately, our faithful president, James, is unavailable today, so you get me. But also, you get a special guest. You see Liam here with us tonight. We're really happy to have him. Obviously, we'd like to see him on the field more lately, but injuries do happen, and maybe we'll hear a little bit more about that here in a minute. But just wanted to give you an update this week. We have the Jackal Den watch party happening at Pennywise Pub. And that is in Flower Mound. Kickoff is at 5 p.m. Definitely show up early, grab a seat, grab a beer. They know we're coming. That should be a fun time. We're trying out new places. I know we've had many people pitch to us to try out some new locations for watch parties. There will also be a Jackal's official watch party this week. They're releasing a new beer. It's called the Rucked Up beer. It is a tropical blonde brewed with some help from the Dallas Jackals themselves. And that will be available before and after matches, apparently. So very exciting. I know we had True Vine the first year and that kind of disappeared. And it's good to hear that we're going to get linked up with a new brewery. So very exciting. That will start obviously around 5. They have it listed at 3 right now. Don't pay attention to that. The match starts at 5 Central, 3 p.m. Pacific. So 5 p.m. be there at Dr. Jakal's Beer Lab, and that is in Pantego, Texas, which is just southwest of Arlington, I believe. So you'll have to look that up, Dr. Jakal's Beer Lab. And they will be doing a beer release and watch party on Sunday. So if you're on the west side of DFW, head to Dr. Jackal's or Dr. Jackal's. I'm, right there. And if you're on the north side, don't hesitate to stop by the Jackal Den official watch party at Pennywise Pub in Flower Mound. We still have scarves for sale. PM me on Facebook. You can also find me on Discord and other social medias. Discord, I'm the Rugby Rick. And we've got a great episode today. So this is episode number 30 of the Jackal Den podcast show. We have Liam Murray, loosehead prop of the Dallas Jackals. I know, Liam, you've probably played along the front row at other positions, but we know you as a loosehead, and you've been playing that quite a bit for a while. Just want to give a real quick intro of yourself before you do it. You had a stint with Houston. That was your first stop in MLR.
Yep.
Six matches, got some time, then ended up going to the Toronto Arrows for injury cover. Didn't play a whole lot there, but then we got to see you the first year as a Dallas Jackal in 2022, re-signed for 2023 and 2024, and obviously we're halfway through 2024. If you don't mind, tell us more about your background of rugby, how you got started, and how you got here.
Well, it's been long. I've been playing since I was about 10 years old, I say. I lived up in BC, out of Vancouver area. And for a time, there wasn't any rugby around where I moved to. And I would see it around. Like at one point, I saw my older brother play, and I was like, wow, I want to be a part of that sport. I had tried football and soccer. I mean, soccer wasn't physical enough, and football, you didn't get enough time on the field and all that sort of deal. So rugby really put it together. Those all the things I like, the physicality and just working hard and making it a battle. So started when I was 10, sevens, minis rugby. Actually, believe it or not, I started as a 10 and then made my way to center and then into flanker, then 8-man, little stint at lock, and then found my place up in the small numbers up at the top there in the front row. So that's where I've been most of my career since about 18 years old, playing with BC provincial leagues and Rugby Canada development sides, like under 18s, played under 20s, and then straight from the under 20 program, went over to the island and played in the Pacific Pride Academy.
Yep.
The guys like Dewey and Brock Gallagher was in there for a bit as well. And then you find myself at Houston for my first year. I actually got my first MLR cap was with Toronto Arrows when I got loaned there.
Oh, really?
So that
Okay.
was just, yeah. So I got loaned out. They had to play me because I was on loan. Got like played like the end of the game, got a win against DC, and then flew out like on the Monday back to
Wow.
Houston. Somebody got injured, yeah. So it was real quick. Got to experience their hotel lifestyle out in Atlanta. That was that year, yeah. A bit crazy over there. But ever since, like Houston rebuilt that year, Dallas was a new thing, so it's really got to make my own way over here in Dallas. You know, as being part of the from first year one. So it's been a really big like privilege for me to be here the whole time. I just fall in love with the city, and it's great. I live here in the off season as well, coaching Fort Worth and TCU, and just getting around the clubs where I can. It's good.
Yeah, how many of the guys do live here during the off season? Is it popular for the guys? They want to be here during the
Um,
off season? I'm sure
I don't,
some
there's
can't.
there's been a bit of turnover because a lot of RGs will go, Sappos will go. Like some
Yeah.
people find other leagues to play in as well. For me, I have a lot of internationals in that time with Canada, so it's not really worth. I could go play in another league, but it would be a lot on me and my family relationship. So it'd be just a lot of moving for everybody. So I prefer just to stay put, train, and be ready to go when you're called, right? But how many people stay? Maybe. I mean, you got Petty. Maybe like 6 guys will be staying,
Okay.
but mostly they're domestics, and I think a couple of Sappos will stay as well.
That's good.
But
And
yeah.
those guys are enjoying now. When we say they're enjoying the city, they're enjoying Arlington, or are y'all getting around? You getting
We're
around to
getting
Fort
more.
Worth and
I'm getting
Dallas?
more so Fort Worth
Yeah.
myself, but I mean it's all pretty similar. I prefer Fort Worth myself the most, if I'm biased anywhere, but that's just me.
Well, let's talk about that. So, you've been in Texas for a little while now. It's got to be some bit of culture shock compared to Canada or BC area or even Toronto for that matter. Kind of what were some of your initial findings of moving to Texas, and then what have you found that is like the thing that you're surprised that you really enjoy about living in Texas and maybe even just kind of living in DFW?
I was kind of shocked that the Tex-Mex of it all, the Texas and all the Spanish here. So it's like that was like, wow, I didn't know it was that um, like prevalent, or I don't know if that's the right word, but that
Yeah.
there's Spanish everywhere, and it's awesome. Like the culture is so mixed like that. But now from back in BC, I'm kind of a country boy myself, so I'm used to all
Okay.
these types of people. Like, no, nobody's personality really threw me off. I was like, I can,
Cowboy hats and
yeah,
cows and
yeah,
horses and none of that threw
yeah.
you off.
Well, definitely, there's more cowboy hats here. We don't do that. You get the boots up there, but
Boots,
it's
okay,
too
but not
cold.
cowboy hats.
Too cold for hats. You gotta cover your ears.
Oh, okay.
No, but other than that, it's been great. Other than the summer when it gets like 45 degrees and
And
I'm doing
that's
manual labor
Celsius
somewhere, and
for those
uh,
people who
yeah, it's
are thinking
Celsius. So when
Fahrenheit
it's like
versus 45
115,
degrees Celsius would be like
yeah, it's like
110-ish.
115. Yeah, 110, 115
Yeah,
around
yeah.
there. Hot, real hot.
Really.
The
Yeah,
cicadas
and
are
I
singing.
guess
It's hot.
being a Texas boy growing up here, I've just gotten used to it, but I always wonder, uh, you know, especially people who kind of stick around for summer, coming here to college, stick around for the summer. Is that a huge shock, how hot it
Yeah,
does get down here?
it's a bit of a shock. Everyone warns you for it though, so it doesn't. Not much of a surprise until you're like, oh my gosh, I need about 2 gallons of
Is
water.
it better than the heat you get down in Houston with the humidity down there?
I'd say so. I'd say so. I wasn't there through summer, but
Okay.
it's sticky down there.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
yeah, it's gross.
Sweat
They're
just
on it.
constantly.
They're on a nice grass field though, even for practicing. So it's like the mud doesn't get as hot as these turf pellets do for us.
Oh,
So
I'll
like we
bet.
feel our cleats like melting out there. Sometimes it's like you don't want to go down. It's hot, but you
Yeah,
get on
so
with it.
that's an interesting one, especially as a prop. I know, backs typically where this is getting kind of into the nitty gritty of rugby and gear. But I think it's an important thing to hear that backs do wear usually a different cleat than forwards
yeah.
do. And so, especially when you're talking about playing on a fake turf surface, how big a difference does that make to you playing it on, for example, the natural turf in Houston versus playing here on the rubber pellet?
It's much nicer to scrum on natural turf because you can really like the ground will give way to your toes a little bit. On
Yeah.
artificial turf, your studs they don't go any deeper than that turf is gonna like allow them to. So even if you have long studs, they may not like go all the way in. And even if they are all the way in, they may not grab. Like they just
Yeah.
skip. If you're not perfectly locked in and your locks aren't like the weight's not balanced properly, you could just start sliding sometimes, you know. But backs versus forwards, yeah, backs don't artificial turf. They don't need to wear any studs, so it's kind of jealous, a little bit of jealousy on them for that. That's the only
Could
reason.
almost go out there in tennis shoes as a back on the face.
Yeah, they pretty much like those like soccer turf shoes that just have little nubs on them.
Yep.
They could pretty much do that. Yeah, might be hard to do a nice step, but the studs give you power in the rucks, and you really have to a lot of leg drive in this sport. So those you need a little bit to
Yeah,
grab on there.
absolutely. No, that makes
Really
sense.
bumps you a
I
little bit.
do wonder about the challenge of, I've only played club level rugby, and club fields are all grass. So I've
Yeah.
never experienced that except for the one year we played against Allen. They were the Frisco Griffins then before they became the Jackals, and they played up on the FC Dallas practice field, and they had the fake rubber field. And man, that threw us all for a loop. The way the ball bounces on the field and
Oh yeah.
everything like
Yeah.
that is just crazy.
Totally
But
different.
that's a concern across the league is, fake turf versus
Yeah.
natural grass field, obviously.
It beats up your knees and ankles, and everything hurts just a
Yeah,
little bit
so
more with the
I would
training
assume
on it.
this is going to be a concern going forward with,
Well, you've got the World Cup coming, so that's gonna be something to look at.
yeah,
So it'd look
absolutely. And
awful bad if a bunch of people would
obviously, we'd
start
love to
blowing their
see it
knees
all
out.
on natural grass fields. I think a lot of Dallas fans are jealous of the Houston stadium and field. It is pretty down there.
Yeah, totally.
So you're obviously enjoying playing with a bunch of Canadians. You mentioned several of the guys, Dewey and Gallagher that you played with in BC.
Yeah, Kyle.
How is
Mitch.
that? Like, are you introducing them to the culture here?
Yeah, I know
Because you're
some
kind of
good spots.
the original, the OG of Canadian Jackals.
I tell people where to go, where to get their good food and haircuts and all that. So it's nice to be familiar and show up somewhere and someone's familiar. So I like to, I don't hold back if they ask me somewhere, I'll tell them. My
Do y'all
aunt's
have any
Kenyan for the most part.
special things that y'all do during your downtime that is very specific Canadian?
No, not really.
Y'all don't play any like hearts or anything like that?
Crib. We play crib.
Okay.
It's like on a wooden plank, and there's like pegs. It's a card game with numbers. You like add to 15 and 31 and
Okay.
make runs. Yeah, we'll have to look it up. It's
Everybody will have to look it up. I'll
Yeah.
forward some information about it after the
Yeah.
podcast. That's
Yeah,
awesome,
it's
though.
good crack.
So y'all do have some little kind of Canadian things you can bring to the social
Canadians,
life of the team.
Yeah, I mean Canada's pretty American, like North
Yeah.
America's all pretty similar, like same holidays, same this and that. Like
Right.
Beer. Yeah, I don't know. The beer is weaker down here, so look at our stuff.
It has to be stronger up there because it gets so cold. You need something
Working half of it's working to warm you up.
To keep you warm. Yeah, exactly. What's your favorite thing outside of the Tex-Mex and Spanish culture that you found at DFW? Is there like the brewery scene, or is there I don't know, like a favorite place that y'all like to go to, or just really anything like that?
I don't know. It's such a big sporting city, and just everyone's so like just down to earth, but also like hardcore around here. So I like going and checking out like the different gyms. Like I've been out to Metroplex gym and a couple other badass spots I found. So, or like other than that, like you like to go frisbee golfing and just go around. I don't know. I don't do anything specific because my hobbies I like to relax by the pool. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
There
It's
you
like
go. There's probably a little bit more pool time here than
yeah,
back home.
the heat makes it feel like a vacation. So I'm just yeah, it's awesome.
So let's get back to rugby. What do y'all need to do to finish this season on a high? I mean, obviously getting 4 wins, especially for somebody like you who's been around when it's been a bit of a challenge. Like and you know, it's been difficult. What is
Just
it?
put yeah,
Y'all
just
have
like
high expectations for the season. Everybody we've spoken to, the expectations are a lot higher than I think the fans even have for the team. And we love what the team's been doing. And we're like, uh, are we getting too high on it? Should we pull ourselves back a little bit? Where do y'all expect to finish the season? And how are you looking towards next season?
I mean, anything less than a playoff spot or Western final would be a bit of a letdown, in our opinion. What we're thinking is we can challenge any team in this league on any day, like, and we've proved it throughout the season. And really, if you look at it, we beat ourselves. We beat ourselves in those games we lose, other than like one or two. Mainly speaking, probably that NOLA game was our
Yeah.
biggest deficit where we fell off for more than 20 minutes. Those other losses, we fall off for like just a portion of the game, and then
Yeah, Liam, let me
give
give
it
a
to them.
quick run through the scores for the season so far so people can get an idea. I mean, it's a good reminder because even I forget like how close these matches have
Oh
been.
yeah,
So
multiple.
beating LA, obviously that was great to get LA in LA the first week. I think,
Yeah,
catching them off guard, gain a win there. I think y'all could have done more there, actually. I think it could have been worse for LA.
yeah,
32-29 in that win. Losing to San Diego at home. Now we're playing them away this week, but losing at home 30-23. And I think that was closer than that score actually suggests.
yeah.
I think there were plenty of opportunities to win that.
Last minute penalties in like 3 games in a row
Yeah.
that robbed us.
68-28 at
hurt.
Anthem. That told everybody that this was legit, I think, because
Yeah,
Anthem, obviously, I think the expectation is they're not going to be good and they may not even win. It may be very similar to the Jackals first season.
yeah.
But putting up 68 points on them was pretty
Statement,
phenomenal.
yeah, it was good.
That loss then against NOLA at home, definitely the roughest match so far this season. And like you said, just kind of taking 20 minutes off almost. And then losing only by 3 to Houston at home, a match that we had the ball, y'all had the ball within 5-meter line on a line out, and it just didn't work out. But you're right there, and you score the try, and the game's over.
Yeah.
Same thing in Seattle, right? In Seattle, which is one of the hardest places in MLR to play, and you lose by 2. Again, line out, ball inside their 5-meter line, and we turn it over, and that was the end of that game. Score a try there, and it's literally at the end of the game, and game's over, you win.
Yeah.
The win against Utah, phenomenal win. I think that's the best win on the season. Despite it being close, Utah, clearly a team that's been around, has been building, and I think the expectation was much higher for them this season. They've beat some good teams so far this year. So I think that was a phenomenal win. And then blowing out Miami in Miami with I would say a lineup that I'm not going to say it's like a B-side lineup. It was kind of like a mix and match and trying to get some guy time and
we got to work around our international caps as well as our injuries. Like things just will pop up.
And I would say it's really difficult, especially with
sport,
your injury specifically.
It's a dangerous roster, that one, because a lot of these guys are kind of question marks for the other team sometimes. Like if they don't get as much time,
yeah,
they really put it together and put on the show in Miami. It was awesome.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've had question about since kind of the roster was first finalized was there's not enough domestic talent. It's going to be really challenging if we have injuries to domestic players like yourself. What do we do? And so we are going to have to do a lot of mix and match and putting guys maybe even out of position like Jara playing in the second row. That's tough for, and obviously he did a phenomenal job, but that's against Miami. And this week's challenge is a little bit higher, maybe. So what are we thinking about San Diego right now? Because
they're a very experienced like very experienced. But you'd say they're like an older squad who kind of
And
start off
Gitto
very,
apparently going to
very,
get some playing time this
yeah.
weekend.
So they're putting out a shot at against us, but that could go against him real quick. Get him, like, pressure him during the game, and then if he's out, he's done. They wasted a spot there, right? So we just need to beat them physically in the first half, and then just trust our system and don't go away from it, even if we're up or if we're down. Keep playing our game plan, kick out of our own end, pressure them with our defense, make them get the ball back, and then we go kick corner, score first phase or scrum, pen, maul, score. So we have our
The
game
ball's
plan.
been
Pretty
phenomenal
obvious.
this year.
Yeah.
Is there a big change in terms of coaching or decision making or
No, it's the
whatever it
exact
is?
same. It's the exact same maul. We've
It's
just
just working
on it.
this year.
It's just cohesion, that time together. I think that's why we had a good start against LA. That was pretty much the same squad, same forward pack that played it then last year too. So we had all that time together, all that. We know where each other's going or how it's going to roll. So we just go, keep going, give it everything. So.
Yeah, and I think, not going away from it when, quote unquote, it failed a couple of times in important situations for the team. I think it's been really important to see that you're not just going to go away from it because we lost a couple of matches at the end with a failed maul. Dewey's been, really a really good thrower up until I think maybe just rough conditions in Miami. It was hard to tell on TV. I think being there would have been easier to tell that it was
second half. I heard was just a
quite wet
slide.
And windy, apparently.
Yeah, sideways rain. If you looked at the lights, that rain was going sideways up there.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a challenge, and I think it's exciting if we get Gitto and Nanu on the field together. Obviously, just from a rugby perspective. But I agree. I think getting on them early, putting pressure on, got an older roster. They've really struggled from what I think people expected of them this season.
So it's a young league, and all the teams are good. So you take one injury, especially in a big team like that, like they may not have the cohesion with their subs, or I don't know. I can't tell from their squad, but they have looked like they've been a step behind the last couple of games, but we'll just go out there and do our best for the 80 minutes and give her. I don't know.
So, as a Canadian, you see what MLR is doing with Anthem. Is there a thought that there needs to be something similar with Canadian rugby? I know Canadian rugby's really struggled the last few years.
Yeah. Well, the drop of Toronto is pretty huge.
Yeah,
that hurt us. That hurts Rugby Canada a lot. But the fact that we're still domestics is great. So because majority of those, the internationals anyway, they got another chance, or a lot of the other backs or whoever else they get signed went to sevens. So it's good. Like Rugby Canada gave them a pathway to at least go try these different things. But yeah, Canada definitely needs something. Vancouver is a perfect spot for it. Have you heard about the Vancouver Highlanders team?
Yeah, so they've put together what looks like,
like
very similar to kind of what the Jackals were 2 years ago in terms of quality of team, where it's like not sure they're quite, MLR, but pretty darn good.
Yeah, they've got like fringe Canada team guys, multiple cap players that are there. They may not be fully in the mix right now, but at least they've got that to go play. It's called Rugby Players Championship, I think.
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't see who they were playing against. That was kind of a mystery.
Yeah, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's like a Brazil 15, maybe like a traveling British Navy side.
Okay.
Maybe Paraguay team, like a couple of the maybe lower international sides that just kind of have a team and join these competitions. I don't know. It's all a mystery until we see the fixtures come up. But There needs to be an MLR team up there, and I don't know why they haven't joined. There's something weird with the BC Rugby,
Yeah,
but it's kind of annoying that they haven't done it because it's the perfect spot. It's
I agree.
literally
So
2
would
hours
that
from
be a
Mexico
dream come
from
true
Seattle.
to go back to BC and play for
I don't know. I really
Vancouver Highlanders at some point?
not the Highland. I don't know. I really like Dallas. I think I could stay here for sure, but if the opportunity, like who knows? You can't really
Yeah, of
see.
course.
Would be nice to be closer to family, but we're doing
How
well down
often
here
does
as
your
well.
family get to come down?
They've been down here only twice in the last 3 seasons,
Okay.
so not super often. But yeah, I go up in the summer and been up for the last couple of Christmases. So it's been I get around
That's
still.
good.
Yeah, able to travel.
What are your thoughts on potential team playing out of I think is it Monterrey, Nuevo
Montreal.
Laredo?
Well, oh, Monterrey, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
That would be real interesting because yeah, I've seen the sevens teams start popping up, but I hear nothing of Mexican 15s. Be interesting. I don't couldn't
I've
say
heard
much
your
more than
your former team's owner of the Houston SaberCats is involved with rugby. What is it, RAN and Rugby Mexico, trying to develop a team down
really.
there. And the rumor had been that they were going to start next year. Find that very hard to believe at this point. But
Yeah,
the stranger things have happened in MLR,
yeah,
to be fair.
yeah. Seriously. So then anyone with Mexican heritage will become a domestic after that,
Yeah,
and
and
then
that's my other wonder is
you'll have different visas
where
you
does
need and
that
stuff.
stop in terms of domestics? My thought is eventually you're going to want kind of most of RAN, most of North American rugby to be domestics to help develop,
Yeah, that
I don't
area.
know, Costa
Yeah,
Rica or Jamaica or
yeah.
wherever else.
If you wanted to get like a Atlantic League sort of going on,
Right.
that you call it, or what would you call it? That's the Atlantic over there. Super Rugby Atlantic. I don't know.
I think SRA is already taken, but yeah, you could find something in there,
Yeah.
right? Rugby, yeah.
SRC Caribbean.
There you go. Exactly. And I love the
Something
Caribbean because
random.
that makes it feel like you're, beach bound if you're going to head down for a match.
Yeah, that would be a crazy travel from Seattle to Jamaica for a rugby game or something. I could see them having their own thing there, like joining the Slar sort of deal, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I think those countries themselves maybe have quite a ways to go still.
Yeah, I think it would be more likely to be a,
They're
team
like
playing
second grade sort of.
out of Jamaica or out of I don't know, Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico being an easy one just because you wouldn't have to worry about visas getting into the United States from Puerto Rico.
Good point, yeah.
And you have basically a Caribbean team. So you bring players from Jamaica and Barbados and Bermuda and such to play out of that location on a team so that those countries can get players kind of
Yeah.
into a team. Anyway, an idea. But the whole Mexico thing brought that up, and wondering about where do we go in terms of domestic players. We're going to allow Mexican players to be domestic, maintaining Canadian players as domestic to help develop Rugby Canada. How much is MLR really committed to developing RAN teams and not just American rugby? That's where I think there's a bit of a battle there.
You don't know until it happens, sort of with these guys. It's like the Wild West, the new league. So anything will happen.
If it makes money, I guess they would go with it. Would be probably the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of rumors, there was a random rumor that popped up. Now it's Planet Rugby, so take it with a grain of salt. But the London Irish joining MLR. As crazy, crazy as that rumor is, obviously, I don't know how familiar you are with leagues outside of MLR, Premiership, URC, things like that. There's a lot of turnover of teams abroad. It's not just a thing happening in American rugby. So London Irish, Wasps, Worcester all went into administration, which is basically bankruptcy. For those who don't know. There's a bunch of Australian teams that are close to, if not in bankruptcy. So rugby union kind of around the globe is struggling in some respects. So I wonder if there's a opportunity to put a team into a URC or into a Super Rugby. Would the USA get involved? Because I'm sure World Rugby would love to have that happen.
Some crossover games.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be interesting. I'd be up for a couple trips a year to overseas. But I don't know, it's probably a money thing with that travel, and then you get visas for
And
people to fly
I don't
over
think,
there for
and
different.
maybe,
I don't know. It might
I
be
don't know
strange.
if you have the perspective on this, but for fans that are not American fans, we have a ton of non-American fans
Yeah,
in just our fan group. They're fans because they're either Canadian, because we do have a lot of Canadian players, or they're South African fans, Kiwi fans who maybe have had a player here, or are just really interested in MLR and they've chosen the Jackals to follow for whatever reason.
yeah.
I'm not sure they understand the challenge of travel in the United States. Can you give us an idea? Because y'all are doing it every week.
Yeah.
What is travel like for y'all?
So you have a Saturday game. You're gonna fly out like Thursday morning. We're in a good spot in Dallas because we're like right in the middle of the
Yeah.
country, travel wise. So either way, if we're gonna go to Boston, it's about 3.5, 4 hours, and then Seattle, total other side of the country, is another 3.5, 4 hours, depending which way. San Diego, again, closer to 3 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. And then
LA,
Miami
same
was
thing
about.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all far. So, I
How
think
how
for
exhausting is that on a body, especially after you've played a
man,
match?
yeah.
Like, are you leaving late at night? You leaving in the morning? You got
This
long
season's
flights? How's the recovery on that?
this season's been a lot better since last season. Last year we had a couple games where we had to leave right after the plane or the game and go hop on a plane and don't get home till like 4 in the morning or something like that, and you're just destroyed. And then you get one day off and then back to training on Monday, and it's like, oh man, just wanted to be laying in bed at the moment. like, so yeah, it's hard on the body. It's harder on like your fatigue. Like your body might be able to like, okay, I can go walk around, but I'm not gonna be able to run for you for very long. I'm gonna be just exhausted,
Yeah, and then
grounded.
just trying to catch up on sleep and things like that. I'm sure,
Yeah,
coaches, at least your, PT and stuff like that are saying, make sure you're getting your sleep in, things like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Get your rest. Get your sleep. It's
Yeah.
big.
So what is I know or I don't know what you're allowed to say about injury, but we've noticed your absence on the field for several weeks now. Speaking of recovery, where are you? What's that process been like for you? And
I'm nearly I'd say I'm about 85, 90% back at the moment. Like range of motion's there. I just need strength back. Uh, happened near the end of the Seattle game. Oh, am I glitching out?
you're okay. I can hear you. We'll at least get your audio. Oh, I think we've lost him. Okay, we've lost Liam, unfortunately, due to a connection issue, but just wanted to finish up for him. He did inform me that he will be cleared in a few weeks for full contact, and hopefully will be back with the Jackals playing shortly. So great to have him on tonight. Really happy to hear that the boys are really enjoying themselves. We're building something really exciting. 4 wins of 8 matches is phenomenal as a Jackals fan for the last few years. From going to we've got a team, to not having a team, to having a team, not winning any matches, to winning a couple of matches, to now being 500 at the midseason point is just phenomenal. Thank you, Liam, for coming on tonight. And thank you to all the Canadian boys for enjoying the DFW area and putting up a phenomenal season so far. along with all our Argies and Safas and Americans, everybody else. I do want to finish up by just saying that we've got a big match this weekend against San Diego. Again, it's a 5 p.m. kickoff on Sunday afternoon. Remember that we will have 2 watch parties, one at Pennywise Pub in Flower Mound. Get there early, get a table. That will be the official Jackal Den watch party. Official Jackal's watch party will be in Dr. Jekyll's Beer Lab in Pantego, Texas, which is just outside of Arlington. You'll have to look that one up, but they're doing a beer release. The Rucked Up beer, which is a tropical blonde, should be really good. Supposedly, we're going to get to taste some before and after matches for the home matches for the rest of the season. Remember, we are away this weekend. We have the second half of the season now coming up. So we've got San Diego on the road this weekend, but then the following 2 weekends, we will be at home. We've got a Friday night match against Los Angeles here in DFW. That will be a 7:30 start next weekend. And then the following weekend, which I believe is going to be a Sunday, we will be hosting the Seattle Seawolves in town. So we got a couple of home matches here before we go back on the road after this road game in San Diego. So make sure that you tune in to the Facebook channel, jump on our Discord, follow us on Instagram, follow us on X, all the social medias, the Jackal Den, and obviously just stay tuned in here to the Jackal Den podcast show. Me by myself tonight, as Liam has left us and James was unable to attend. I salute you, Den Dogs. Appreciate your patience with us this season as we continue to build the Jackal Den. And hopefully we can implement as many things as y'all would like to our show, to the group, to our events. And we will be doing more as we go forward, as we really officially become a nonprofit. We obviously always have the scarves for sale, so make sure that you PM me to grab one. They are $15. I will ship at your cost, but you can always pick one up directly from me before the games at our tailgate, which is obviously we won't have one this weekend. We will have some at the watch party, but at the tailgates, at that lot E, it's a southwest corner of that lot, just catty corner to the entrance, the third base entrance of Choctaw Stadium. Come by, grab one, grab a few. We've got plenty, and give me a shout. So signing off, Rick Collins. Thank you, Jackal Den.